Sood fans, today we have something a little bit different. And I'm going to introduce you to Krishma here. She's one of our UTS business alumni. She's a student that I handpicked to come into the Bachelor of Accounting program about a gazillion years ago. Feels like a gazillion years ago, hasn't been.
Feel old.
And she's not, she's very young. But we're here at Arnott's, and if you don't know Arnott's, then Tim Tams are probably the best known thing.
And shapes.
Yes, and shapes. My kids love pizza shapes.
I'll bet.
If you could just get the shaker stuff from Pizza Shapes.
We'll get that sorted for you after.
They need it on it. I could make sandwiches. They'd probably eat that. But today's video, I wanted to talk about studying accounting but not being an accountant. Mm-hmm. So Krish, why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody a bit about what you do.
Okay, so I'm Krish. I'm a brand manager for the Breakthrough Innovation team here at Arnott's. I specifically work on all things sweet, so that very much matches my personality. So I work on the sweet category, which means all the sweet portfolio that you see, so cross brands like TV snacks, chocolate, Simple Batch, Tim Tams.
These are my favourite.
These are divine. They are actually one of the things that I open up almost every Monday. Our assistant brings us a case every month. I'm not kidding. We get through the whole case. And they're very munchable, so it's quite a yummy, way to start the day. Very unhealthy, but is what it is.
You go to the gym.
Hence I gym every day. So
I think I just get fat. I think if I ate here, I'm not a gym person, so it'd just be putting on weight.
You have to learn when you're doing tastings and product tastings how to spittoon. So you actually have to learn to taste without swallowing.
That sounds really disappointing.
It's a bit hard when you're doing things like ice cream and yogurt. You're a little like, I'm not sure where to go with this.
So you haven't always worked here, right? So what was your first job after graduation?
Yeah, so I was an assistant brand manager with Procter & Gamble, working as a marketer for the hair care category back at P&G. And then I moved over to Unilever in Singapore, where I was based for the past 4 years, working as a global brand manager for the personal care division, specifically on soap bars. So I've moved around.
You know a lot about soap.
I know too much about soap. So every category I end up working in, I get immersed in that category. So I can tell you a lot about shampoo and conditioner, soap, body wash, bar soaps, hand soaps,
and now biscuits.
Chocolates, biscuits.
Sweets. Perfect. And you did accounting as a major, and you also did marketing. Is that right?
That's right.
And so how have those two things worked together?
For me, it's been quite magical. So a career in brand management, I guess at its
Nobody
core,
calls accounting magical.
I feel like this is a pretty magical career path, and I'll talk to that. I need to back that now. Set the expectations very high. Basically, in its core, what you do as a brand manager is you're responsible for profitable business growth and market share growth. So what you want to do is grow your brand's footprint in a very profitable way. Mm-hmm. So driving scale and profitability at the same time. Two very key accounting principles.
Good to hear.
Yeah, so basically, I guess how I've been using my degree has been the marketing side, if I'm being honest. It's not a very practical degree. It's the kind of thing where,
So it's not the Gruen transfer like we see on TV and those marketing shows?
No. Honestly, the companies you work with, they'll teach you everything you need to know about marketing. You might know the fundamentals, but when you get into it, marketers are very precious about, what they've done, their experiences, previous launches, how to interact with consumers. So you'll learn from P&G's way. Then you'll learn from Unilever's way. Then you'll come to Arnott's, and Arnott's is really cool because it's a hybrid of all people, P&G, Nestle, Unilever, all in the one place, and it's developed its own kind of way. So I wouldn't say my marketing degree necessarily helped pave the way for me to become a marketer. With my accounting degree, though, what you learn is to be very, very comfortable with numbers, to be very commercially minded. I think the best marketers I've worked with have all done business. They've all done accounting or finance majors in conjunction with marketing. And I think what that helps you with is when you're selling your ideas in an organization, you can't just sell ideas. You have to be persuasive, but you also need to use facts and you need to use data. You need to know the numbers very much like at the top of your fingertips. And you also need to challenge your other functions, because in Arnott's, for example, your brand manager is also your commercial leader for each project. So your job is to challenge finance and be like, okay, but why is the hurdle like that? If you average out all these different gross margins, I should look at this, I should look at that. And by having that understanding, you're able to do your job just that little bit more and that little bit better, which I think is how it's kind of come together for me in a magical way.
In a magical way. It would almost be like working at Disneyland, I imagine here. I think it would be the same sort of thing. So do you talk to accountants much?
Yes, very much so. So my role involves leading a cross-functional team. So that's people from finance, supply chain, other marketers, external agency partners, R&D, product developers, technicians, etc. And as a marketer, you're the glue between all these different people. So the accountants that I work with are very much commercial finance-based accountants, and they work very much on all these different kind of innovation projects that I lead to help work out what's the best way to launch something. You know, things like, do we do it in-house? Do we use a co-manufacturer? What does the business case look like if we price it at this? What does it look like here? They work very much like hand in hand together with me on that.
Awesome. And so I'm also at this point going to bring in Kevin. Kevin, come around. So Kevin's also another one of our fantastic alumni. And you guys don't work together, right? Not in the same type of area.
No.
So Kevin, why don't you tell us introduce yourself and tell us about what your career path has been like to get to here at Arnott's.
Yep, so I'm currently a supply chain finance analyst at Arnott's. I've been here about a year. My career started on the Bachelor of Accounting program, where I did 2 internships, one at Quarter Mentha and one at Lion. After university, I graduated and was accepted into a graduate role at AMP on the accounting and finance program, where I stayed for 2 years. And after that, I rolled off into a property accountant role at AMP Capital, which I was there for about 18 months before starting at Arnott's. So,
what is your everyday like here? So I think Krish said you're working in supply chain. So what does that involve?
So I'm in I'm part of the finance function, but my role is very business partnering oriented. So I'm a business partner with the supply chain logistics team, and my job is to essentially tell a story with numbers.
Cool. And so is that like product costing and that sort of thing as well? So all that stuff we would have done in cost management systems, UTS students will remember CMS. So is it doing that sort of stuff that you learned at uni, or is it a totally different perspective?
Yep, providing product costings to marketers and to the to commercial finance team is very much an important part of my role. So a lot of the technical stuff that we learn in CMS and such is relevant in what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Cool, awesome. Now, what would be the most important skill that you got out of uni?
I think the ability to work with teams, to work in teams and to communicate with people who may not share your area of expertise. Mm-hmm. So in my role, my area of expertise is finance and accounting, but my business partners, they're very much operations. So I think the ability to communicate in an articulate manner and tell a story, to be able to influence decisions and to be able to, I suppose, tell a story is what I picked, is what I think was the most important skill that I picked up at uni.
Krish?
For me, it was resilience. So having to work through, I would say, very grueling internships and study full time, I think it just sets you up for success when you come into the workforce, because you come in and you just feel like you have all this free time. You're like, oh, I'm only working now. This is great. This is so much easier than what I came from. And it's so starkly contrasted to a typical university experience where you go from, you know, a quite relaxed approach to a very intense kind of 9 to 7, whatever it might be, role. So I think for me, it was very much about resilience and keep going even when things are just very, very tough for you. But beyond that, I think time management. For me, It was the soft skills, I think, that I learned most.
Yeah.
And to Kev's point, I think when you graduate out of the Bachelor of Accounting program, you're also incredibly young. You're probably around 20 to 21 years old, leading teams who have people who've been working for years. So there's an element of humility that you need to practice if you want to really bring people on board and bring them on the journey with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so what would be your advice to students who are thinking about studying accounting?
advice about accounting specifically? For me, it'd be more general on business because I feel accounting is one of the core kind of skills you need to be a good business person. But I feel like I have 5 tips. So if Kev wants to go first.
5 tips? Oh,
You should first.
5 tips. Okay, tip number 1.
Tip number 1 is to find out what you're passionate about and beeline for it. So for me, it was marketing, and I chose a very unconventional path to getting there. And along the way, so many people were saying, but you're doing finance internships and accounting internships. So I did mine at PwC and Yahoo. And people would say that's not marketing. But when you get into the graduate recruitment process and you're talking to, and I was on the audit floor for Goldman Sachs, you're just talking about something that's just so much more meaningful than what you would be if you didn't have those internships. So really beeline for your passions. The second would be tip number 2. Sorry, tip number 2, I would say, is about being the kind of person who stays very balanced. So keep up those things that make you you. Because at the end of the day, for me, that was blogging, dancing, whatever it might be. When you walk into any setting, you're still you. And recruiters and hiring managers can very much see through just putting words on a CV. They can see through that. So be authentic to who you are. Tip number 3.
I'm glad you've got 5.
Got 5. Tip number 3 is to be, I would say, aware that life is about trading things off. So whatever you choose, you're not choosing something else. Opportunity cost. Oh, there you go. Threw it in. But it's all about trade-offs. So, if you do pursue a tough degree like the Bachelor of Accounting, you will trade off things. You won't necessarily have as much time for your friends. You won't necessarily have as much time to go to the gym. But be prepared for that trade-off and kind of embrace that trade-off and know that you're working towards something else.
Bigger goal.
Exactly. That was tip number 3, wasn't it?
I think so now we're up to 4.
Now to tip number 4. The tip number 4 is about being humble. So this is one I learnt, I would say, a bit later in life, and about being very aware of how you come across to others. Humility is one of those things that I feel all good entrepreneurs, all good business people, they're able to be humble. They're able to sell themselves well, but they're not boastful. I think it's still...
I'm the best marketer and you should all listen to me.
No, because you can learn so much, and you'll work with people who've been in the industry for 30 years or 40 years, so sometimes double your age. And you need to work with them because you might know more about digital and social and the new emerging things, but they might know more about business and what they've been doing and the way this business kind of operates. So you kind of have to work together and be very, very humble. That was tip number 4.
Tip number 5.
Tip number 5 is about being adaptive. So whatever situation you get thrown into, embrace that as, I can do this and I'm going to find a way to make this work for me. For me, I was probably 6 weeks into an accounting course where I realised, oh my God.
Is this in the summer period?
This was the summer period.
The first 6 weeks?
Yes.
And then you were like, I don't think I want to be an accountant.
That's basically what happened for me.
Well, you hit that very well. I didn't, get that feeling at all when I told you.
But I was adaptive. I was like, I want to learn this. This stuff is good content. It's good skills. I'm going to learn. I'm going to do an internship. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to give that my all. Then I sort of deviated a little bit in second year and went down and did Pandora, sort of a digital marketing internship, and discovered my passions. So I think if you're just the kind of person who's adaptive and really sponges anything you can from the situation that you're in a really positive way, you'll serve yourself incredibly well. So those are my top 5 tips.
Okay, Kevin, have you got 20 tips for us?
I've got 15 now, I'm kidding. I've only got 1. So if I put myself into the shoes of an accounting student, I think when I was at uni going through an accounting degree, I wasn't conscious of how broad accounting roles were in the industry. I think there are still misconceptions about what it means to be an accountant and what kind of roles are available. So my best advice is to go on LinkedIn, look at job ads, because you'll see that there are a range of different roles. There's no one size fits all, but I think students will be very surprised to see what kind of accounting roles and analyst roles there are, just pure by looking at the job descriptions.
Awesome. I think I noticed that yesterday. I was at a conference with government accountants, and people said, well, how do we attract young accountants into public service. I'm like, well, public service is about the public good.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about it from that perspective, so there's lots of different career options. I want to thank Krish and Kevin. I will put a little bit more about their bios and their details in the description below. But if you have any questions for them, drop them in the comments. I'll be sure to send them on and get their responses. And definitely consider a career in accounting. These guys have done the Bachelor of Accounting at UTS, which is a very small specialised program. But the skills that you learn in accounting, whether you're at a big university, a small university, online, those skills are important for any career in business, whether that's startup, big firm, small firm, here, anywhere in the world. So I want to thank everyone for watching today. As always, if you thought the video was useful, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. Click to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.